What is going on, everybody, and welcome back. On this channel, mermaids are real, birds are just government spies. We're doing best ball, so I don't know how to intro these shows. What's going on, Cliffy? Crazy week last week, tragic passing of Johnny Gaudreau. That sucked. I don't know how else to describe it. Don't drink and drive.
Yeah, don't drink and drive. Don't pass on the shoulder on a 2-lane highway. Like, there's just so many things that went wrong with that. Yeah, that was terrible. I was just up. It was, it was a little after midnight when the rumors started coming out, and it was one of those things, like, the rumors started coming out, and then like a couple hours passed, and none of the big sports accounts had said anything yet. And at that point, like, it was like you could kind of tell they were holding off on saying something until everybody was notified. It was just, it's just a terrible situation. So I saw they're doing the vigil right now. There's hundreds, if not thousands, of people in Columbus for the vigil. Imagine it'll be the same in Calgary when that starts here in a couple hours. Just it's just an awful thing. 31. Johnny was 31. His brother was 29. Like, 10 years younger than us, basically. Not a whole lot to say about it at this point, except for the love of God, just don't drink and drive.
Yeah. No family needs to go through that, especially ones with little kids, but seems like they are going to get a lot of support. But there's nothing really you can say. Football starts tomorrow. What a transition. This is why I get paid the giant amount of smackaroos from Jake. But NFL starts tomorrow. There's games tomorrow and Friday. They're in the favela in Brazil on Friday. But I did put the Stochastic link for our affiliate in the chat. The Stochastic is running a promo right now. You can get, I think it's light or core, weekly or monthly, for $1 right now, and then whatever it is on the 10th, you'll get charged full price. So basically, you get the first week for $1. So if you're interested in doing that, it supports us directly, helps us bring you a whole bunch of free content. So click the link in the chat. I forget the promo code, but if you go to the Stochastic, let me go look because I'm just a clown. Stochastic. It is promo code Kickoff. Promo code Kickoff. You can get it for $1. If you're not interested in that and you're like, I'm just going to do the monthly anyway, if you are at checkout and you want a promo code, slide me a DM. I can get you 15% off for your first week or month. Just shoot me a DM with the picture of your checkout screen. I'll shoot you a promo code for 15% off. But yeah, football starts tomorrow. Excited to lose my wife's retirement account on NFL. And no, I'm just kidding. But seriously, yeah. We are waiting for like 9 people in this draft.
We're down to 7 people. Anybody in the YouTube chat, I dropped the link for the Underdog draft in the chat if anybody wants to join. NFL season starting tomorrow. NHL is honestly not that far behind. It's 4 weeks, I think, from tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they have those. There's a couple of games in Europe that start 4 or 5 days before the season.
Yeah. So, the NHL is honestly right around the corner. They had that rookie showcase today, basically just a glorified scrimmage, just to highlight rookies from all the teams. Got to say, those new Anaheim Ducks jerseys, like, I'm not a big jersey guy. Like, I really don't care what jerseys look like and logos and all that. But I got to admit, man, those orange Ducks jerseys, like, I'm kind of digging them. Like, if you're not going to go back to the original Disney, like, purple and teal or whatever, kind of digging the orange.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Frostback has like 13 of them already. He's a Ducks fan somehow. Like, how does that happen? Like, how do you grow up and be like, I want to be a Ducks fan? But
I mean, the Mighty Ducks movies were really good. I mean, there are worse reasons to support an NHL team
Yeah, but like,
than those Mighty Ducks movies.
I'm gonna assume he's younger than we are, and like we were young when they came out. So
True. I mean, you know, like speaking of the NFL, I'll put it this way: like I didn't really grow up watching football. It was basically just hockey and baseball for me. I got into football when I got in high school, and that was around when the Houston Texans started. So I'm technically a Houston Texans fan, even though I don't follow them super closely or anything. It was just like that was the new team when I got into the NFL, and like I know like a lot of kids my nephew's age are Vegas Golden Knights fans, basically just because that was the new team that came into the NHL like 8 years ago or whatever it was, and they're all like 5, 6, 7 years old around that age. When you start getting into sports, and they're just Vegas Golden Knights fans from the east coast of Canada. Like you see a bunch of Golden Knights jerseys around here. It's kind of funny. So maybe that's it. Maybe he was just a huge fan of Chris Pronger. Just love those elbows. Who knows?
yeah, maybe he served, like Ryan Getzlaff a bad steak or something, and I don't know. Who knows? But yeah, I guess my brother's an Eagles fan, and everyone in my house is a Jets fan. I blame my parents for bad parenting, but in hindsight, like it's saving him a lot of pain for being an Eagles fan compared to a lifelong Jets fan.
Yeah, I mean, I've told this story on our NFL or on our NHL shows before, but like my dad and my brother are huge Boston fans, like Celtics, Patriots, Bruins, Red Sox. My brother's had like 20 championships in his lifetime, and I'm a Jays and a Canadians fan. I haven't seen a championship in over 30 years. Like, it's just not the right decision on my part to stray from my family on that one.
But I at least have some respect for the Canadians Jays over anyone who's just straight up Boston. It just feels like I'm cherry picking it, but it feels like front running, but it probably isn't. But my whole life they were like the Yankees Red Sox rivalries and like the early 2000s were insane. But who knows? We're waiting for 4.
Yeah, we are waiting for 4. A little bit of news, I guess we could pass along other than Johnny Gaudreau. Jesus. Torrey Krug, they announced Torrey Krug today. He's going to be out for the season. I didn't see official confirmation, but they think it might be career threatening. He's had ankle injuries that he's played through, especially last year, but going back a few years, they're calling it a pre-arthritic change in his ankle. Man, that would be just brutal. Like he might have played his last NHL game. Like I don't think the St. Louis Blues are going to be any good this year, but it seems they're going to be in tough. Like that's probably why they went after Broberg, right?
Yeah. Pre-arthritic change. Welcome to your 30s, Torrey Krug. But like, welcome to Robodias Island as well. Hopefully it's not career ender. You don't want to see your career end on an injury, but you're going to see Scott Paranovich step up. I guess Broberg maybe will step up. Who knows? But it will give opportunities for other guys.
I mean, you're saying Paranovich and Broberg. Like Justin Falk is the incumbent. I hope you're ready for 24 minutes a night from Nick Leddy is what's going to end up happening.
The Blues are such a dumpster fire. Like they have no plan.
No, but I'm interested. I was talking to a buddy of ours offline about prospects and stuff recently, and they have Dalibor Dvorsky coming up, and you don't want to put a whole lot on one prospect, but like if there's a prospect outside of the elite tier, like the Mitchkov, Celebrini, or whatever tier that nobody's really talking about, that I think can honestly be like a major franchise impact player, I think it's Dalibor Dvorsky. Now, whether he can be that this year, I don't know, but could be like in the next year or two after that. And like Kyrou and Buchnevich and Robert Thomas and all those guys are still going to be young enough where they can actually make a run.
Yeah, they need to get rid of those blue line contracts, though. They're a mess on the blue line. Whew. And that Braden Shen contract they just have a ton of bad contracts, but they can figure out a way to get through those. I think they'll be okay.
Yeah, it's just a matter of like having those prospects line up with the last 3 or 4 or 5 years of the Kyrou and Buchnevich contracts and all that. So no, we'll see what happens. Yeah, not a whole lot else in the NHL like necessarily to speak of. Obviously, there's a lot of impact from the Gaudreau.
Jarvis signed a nice extension with some deferred money while you were out for the weekend.
Yeah. Missed that one, but that's a huge deal for them. I'm wondering if like how pissed off is Lucas Raymond right now? You know what I mean? Like Lucas Raymond might have been holding out for like maybe 8.5 on a regular contract or something like that. Because I mean, what Seth Jarvis signed, 7.4 million, including a bunch of deferred money. Like Matt Boldy signed for 7 million a season ago or whatever it was. Wasn't that long ago. Maybe Lucas Raymond was hoping to kind of like push up the cost of those, winger RFAs. Like Cole Caulfield is another one of those guys. He got
due for extension as well.
7.8 million. Yeah, like I'm thinking Lucas Raymond was holding out for like $8 to $9 million, and now he's going to leave a flaming bag of shit on Seth Jarvis's doorstep for taking that contract.
Maybe they'll submit Draisaitl as incomparable.
Well, who's going to submit Draisaitl as a comparable when his
Mitchie Davey.
That's going to be interesting because I don't know if Marner will get Draisaitl money just because of the winger center difference in typical contracts. Because the Draisaitl, it works out to like 15% of the cap, 15.1%, and like Nathan McKinnon's at like 15.3%. And it like if Mitch Marner strolls in and is asking for like Nathan McKinnon money, I think they're gonna tell him to get fucking lost.
I think the Leafs are gonna sign and trade him. You don't see sign and trades very often in the NHL. You saw it with Tkachuk, but like I think if the Leafs are smart, and I don't think they are very smart with Trevling, but I would probably sign and trade him. But that's just me.
I mean, I think a lot might like you don't want to put it like all on one player, but I think a lot might come down to both or two players, I guess, to Matthew Nyes and Easton Cowan. Like if Nyes takes a big step forward this year and Cowan can step into the lineup right away and be like an impact player, maybe they just kind of tell Mitch Marner, like, good luck, go sign somewhere else. But if Nyes doesn't really take a step forward and Cowan can't step into the lineup just yet, maybe they're kind of like, we can't really afford to let him go. You know what I mean? Because after that, you might just be stuck with Matthews and Nylander for 3 years after that. And then
Trevling loves to hand out ridiculous contracts. Signed Huberdeau to that Gong Show, signed Uyghur. I mean, the Uyghur contract's pretty good, but that Huberdeau contract's a mess.
Yeah, I mean, is it the worst contract in the NHL? It's got to be close.
Off the top of my head, probably.
Yeah, like it's just like it's not even like it's an 8 or an 8.5 million. It's $10.5 million a season. Like, it's
at that point. Why did you even trade Tkachuk? It's like,
well, he said he wasn't going to resign. That's just kind of the whole problem. But the problem is like, to make the Tkachuk trade worth it, they had to keep the players around that they got. Couldn't let Huberdeau walk after 1 year. I think they probably could. I mean, it's easy to say in hindsight now. Like, I'm just wondering if it's because that's such a big drop off basically in one season. I got to think some of it's related to the lineup, right? Like it has to be like just the way the team plays.
I mean, who knows? But I have receipts of saying they should have flipped Huberdeau and Uyghur at the deadline before they signed those extensions. But I mean, even then, like if you got off to a bad start, like how much are you really going to get for him? And like, at that point, you should have just traded Kachuk for picks or something. But I guess like GMs don't do that. I don't know. Who knows? It's like the NBA trades. It's like, oh, here's a guy, and you get 17 first-round picks. That doesn't really happen in the NHL. So,
yeah, not sure. Did see Arturi, speaking of Colorado, because we always talk about Landeskog and Nichushkin. Arturi Lehkonen was back on the ice this week. Off-season shoulder surgery. Looks like he's going to be ready. But, man, I was just thinking, Landeskog's coming back from his knee injury. Nichushkin's 6-month suspension is up in November. We're assuming he's going to go back to the team. There's obviously no confirmation or anything like that on that yet. Plus Lehkonen coming back from the shoulder surgery. Like, those are 3 of your top 4 wingers. You can include Drouin or whatever. I wouldn't. But, after Rantanen, those are 3 of the top 4 wingers. Like, there's a chance where they go basically like 0 for 3, where Lehkonen's shoulder doesn't recover. Like, Caulfield just had a season where, he said, like, his shoulder, even though his surgery, he had months to rehab it, it just wasn't the same this past season. They're hoping another season would help. That could happen to Lehkonen. You and I have talked about what if Landeskog can't return from that knee surgery. Like, there's no guarantee Nichushkin's coming back. There's a lot up in the air with Colorado right now.
Yeah. I mean, Casey Middlestad's going to help. They have a really good blue line. But, yeah, I mean, they need at least one of those guys to come back and be a big part of their team. They ideally want all 3, and it would be nice if they got 2, but they need at least 1. If they get 0,
right? Because like, that's an insane top 9. Like, if they all come back and they're fine, like if you have McKinnon, Rantanen, Landeskog, Nichushkin, Middlestat, Lehkonen, Drouin, Ross Colton, Logan O'Connor, Miles Wood, maybe Nikolai Kovalenko becomes something like it's just an obscene top 9 forward group. But it's one of those things that could go from an obscene top 9 forward group to, well, I guess Logan O'Connor and Jonathan Drouin are on the second line now. You know what I mean? Like, it can end up being that real quick.
Yeah. I mean, Middlestat, I think, is going to be – that's something they didn't have until they got him last year, a competent second-line center. So I think that's going to stabilize them a little bit. But, if he has to play with Drouin and Logan O'Connor, it's not the same as playing with Nichushkin and Landeskog or whomever.
Yeah, apparently the guys just love him. Like, he's one of those, like, Nathan McKinnon, super hard worker, practice in, practice out type guys.
Doesn't eat pasta.
That's his one cheat meal a year. It's just like mac and cheese.
I can't go like a week without eating pasta. I don't know how McKinnon just doesn't eat pasta.
Yeah, I had a big bowl of spaghetti last night. What can I say? My mom's homemade spaghetti recipe, one of those things that's passed down like 3 generations. It's pretty good. It's like, I can't say no. Yeah, draft is up, so we don't have to talk about
7. You have 9.
Oh man,
Frostback with the 2nd pick, Craig with the 3rd pick, Dirty Dan.
Yeah, we got DJ 4th, Layla Cuff 5th, GA007 in the chat 8th.
Titans is in there. He's in the chat.
Yeah,
Joey. Dirty Dan and the boys. We will have – no, that's Dirty Mike and the boy. Dirty Mike and the guys.
I don't think this is the – have I think – no, I picked 11th in one of my drafts, but other than that, everything else has been in the top 6. So this is an interesting spot for me.
Maybe we'll get Matthews going 1 again in our last draft. Josh, do not take cappers off. I'm not. Huh? It only took me 21 minutes to bring up Matthews. Yeah. McNuggets, number one.
I think that feels about right. Yeah, let's see what Frostback does here.
He's going to take a goalie. Nope.
It'd be funny if he's like, I'm just going to screw Josh at every pick, like goes like Sturkin Panarin or something. I think McKinnon number 2 just makes a ton of sense.
Yeah. Freddie Mercury with the 3rd pick.
Pasternak, yeah. I think that's basically been the top 4. Maybe there's a draft where Kucherov went instead of Pasternak, but that's basically been the top 4 in every draft I've seen that I've done.
I guess I will get my first share of Brady.
Of course you would.
So GA007 could take Cappers off. Yeah.
I'm going to do something a little bit different here. Mr. Hughes.
Jack Hughes. He's going to have a big season if he's healthy.
I think this is a year where like he's put into that number 4 slot, like up alongside Draisaitl, at least in terms of fantasy production. If you want to talk real world production or, you know, his impact on a team, that might be a different story. But like for me, it's like 45 goals, 65 assists, like that type of season.
Panarin and Yossi on the turn.
Matty Tkachuk. All right. Well, not sure exactly what I want to do here, but I don't think I have any of Nylander yet, so let's go with a Willie.
UC Saros, the first goalie off the board. What to do?
Of course. Saros first off the board is interesting. Like, I don't even hate it. Like, Saros is going to get 60 starts. Nashville's probably going to be like a 45-win team. He's going to have 40 of those wins, 39 of those wins. This is a win-heavy setup format.
I am very interested to see Nashville, once we get a good sample on them, their expected goals numbers with that top line on and off the ice, because, oh boy, that second line is going to be a spicy meatball defensively.
And they traded Ryan McDonough too, so maybe they're going to be a bit worse on the back end. I mean, they did sign Brady Shea. Not crazy about that signing, but I guess he can replace McDonough at this stage of McDonough's career.
Brady Shea is the guy who's good at everything, not great at anything.
Honestly, I don't even mind that from a defenseman. Yeah. You know what I mean? I know there's an analyst I follow. His thing about defensemen is like it's a weak link position on a team. It's like you don't necessarily need elite defensemen at the top. You just can't have terrible defensemen at the bottom.
Jacob Trouba.
It's something I think about. Like, I don't think Darnell Nurse is a terrible defenseman, but seeing Draisaitl get $14 million, knowing that they're not far away from having to re-sign Connor, and Darnell Nurse is still sitting there at $9.25 million a season for 6 more years.
Oh, that's so bad.
It's not what you want.
Yeah, they would have kept Broberg, obviously, if they had the. Well, they offered him shit compared to what the Blues did, but like probably because of that Nurse contract, they could only offer him that. You know what I mean?
I mean, if they don't have Darnell Nurse, I bet they have Evan Bouchard extended already.
Oh, yeah.
Because like if Bouchard goes out and has like an 84-point season or something like that, he's going to be a $10 million defenseman.
Oh, yeah.
And if you think Connor's going to be making like 16 or 17 million, and you got Draisaitl at like 14, you 2 defensemen at 20 million, like you're going to have $50 million plus tied up between 4 players, and one of them's Darnell Nurse. Caulfield at 25th might be the highest that I've seen him go so far. I don't even hate it.
Switched his number to 13 this year, so gonna get my first share of Bedard.
Oh,
yeah.
Let's get this stack going. Come to Papa, Timo.
Oh boy, devil stacks.
Let's see how it goes. I suppose, I mean, I don't want to influence anybody's pick, but I did see, because we've been talking about Thatcher Demko and his health. He is skating right now. Whether he's going to be ready for the season or not is still up in the air. But at least he is on the ice, like rehabbing right now. So I guess it's a step in the right direction for Thatcher Demko. But it seems like there's still a lot of uncertainty. Oh, I was hoping Swayman would make it back to me. Titans 20 took him. It's a tough break.
Surprised Rasmus made it that long, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I'd Swayman and Rasmus as one of the guys I wanted to take, and now I'm kind of thrown for a loop. Well, let's keep the stack going. I mean, I really wanted one of Swayman or Dahlin. I'm not super thrilled about taking Brad there, but I don't hate it.
I don't really like this board, so I'm going to get the Xbox buddy to go with Igor.
Igor and Elias, that's a pretty good start to your goaltenders. Holy hell.
Gonna have Bob the Builder as my sixth winger, but that's okay. Can always, get some Riley Smith late.
Well, I'm wondering where I'm going to go. I think I have an idea what I want to do with my next 2 picks, but it's, it's just a matter if they fall to me. I'm wondering how Carolina is going to run their team, because you have Svechnikov, Natchez, and Jarvis, but only 2 guys can play on the top line. And Jarvis played a lot last year. Not a lot, I guess, but a fair bit in the second half of the season next to Jordan Staal.
I think they're going to all be split up, to be honest with you.
Like 3 different lines?
Yeah, because Rob the Bod doesn't like playing Netches with Aho because Netches can enter the zone by himself.
It's true. Wouldn't that be something like, I don't know, like Jordan Martinook, line 2 with Kotkaniemi and Natchez or something like that, and then put like Will Carrier on the top line with Aho and Jarvis or something. Like they could do some pretty funky stuff with their lineups.
DJ must have gotten sniped. I've never seen him take this long to make a pick.
Well, Frostback took Markstrom, so one of my picks is gone. Thanks, Tyler.
Classic Frostback.
Classic Frostback.
Well, there goes my pick of Dobson. How is Crosby still sitting here for... Fuck. He's so annoying. But come on down, Mr. Crosby. In the end of the 5th, like...
Yeah, you kind of have to at that point. Well, I'm going to take my number 1 defenseman left on the board, Mr. Uyghur. I hope he runs power play 1. I'm not convinced he'll do it. I guess we'll see. Especially because they just picked up Tyson Barrie on that PTO.
Oh, that's such a bad signing for them.
It's going to be one of those things where Barry's going to be like the 6th defenseman playing 15 minutes, but he's going to eat the top power play time.
Yeah, because they also have Miramonov, right? Or whatever it is. So
yeah. And, Rasmus Anderson's still there.
Good for the clubhouse, or good for the room. Who cares about the fucking room? The team's going to win 12 games. God damn it. I have 6th pick in the 6th round at pick 66. What the fuck?
Well, let's go, Mr. UPL.
Uka, Pekka, Luukkonen. I just like saying that. And of course, I'm going my 3rd center in 6 fucking rounds again. But I got to pair him with Brady. And I have his jersey in the background, so what the hell?
I have a feeling Stutz is going to be pretty good this season.
Yeah, he had a really unlucky season last year.
Well, he hurt his wrist or his hand like less than a month into the season, and it never healed. He played through it. So, like, I think it's kind of like Caulfield, where, like, he played the full season, basically, just wasn't healthy.
Did you see that news on Marchand? He had, like...
3 surgeries. What is it? Tendon in his elbow and 2 sports hernias or something like that?
I wonder he looked awful in the playoffs. He couldn't fucking skate.
For most of the season, for that matter. He still had, 66, 67 points, something like that?
Yeah.
I was looking at Los Angeles today. Kevin Fiala led the team in even strength ice time last year. I would not have guessed that.
I wouldn't have gotten there. I would have guessed Kempe, then I would have guessed, I don't know.
It was Fiala first, Kopitar was second. I think Deneau was 3rd.
Trevor Moore, maybe.
No, Trevor Moore was 3rd, and then Deneau was 4th. And then, like, Byfield 6th, Kempe 5th. Something like that. But I wouldn't have guessed Kevin Fiala led them in even strength ice time per game.
I still don't have a defenseman. Jesus Christ.
Just looking, I think there's 3 guys that I hope make it to me. 5 picks to go. Not sure if it'll happen. We'll see. Well, there goes one of them. It's weird I haven't seen Marco Rossi go in very many drafts. I guess like Boldy, Kaprizov, Eriksson Ek, like if they use Zuccarello, then Rossi won't get power play time, but
Hmm.
You gonna take another center?
I'm thinking about it. No. I don't know. I like him this year, and I hate that I like him.
Ooh.
Even though he's probably not going to be power play 1, he's just a peripheral monster when he's healthy. Of course, Moods and DJ rip Marco Rossi because they don't know talent when they see it. Marco Rossi, the GOAT.
I mean, I was high on Rossi as a prospect. I don't think like there were some good bits in his season last year. I'm not sold like last year was like, oh, this guy's going to be a 30-goal, 40-point center in a couple years' time. Like I still think it's kind of up in the air.
Pyotr Kochetkov. Josue Morrissey. He's just like a vanilla. He's such a solid defenseman that I just don't want to pick because he's boring. And that's such a bad bias for me.
Who, Morrissey?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I was looking up something else for a different defenseman earlier today, and like Morrissey just brings so much across the board, even if he's not like an 85-point guy. Well, I'm going to have so much Zach Werenski this year. It's sickening.
I'm on the clock here. I need something to pair with the crying biatch, so I'll take Rust Bucket.
I mean, that's not a bad secondary stack to have.
The problem is their power play is atrocious, so what am I doing here?
I mean, maybe it'll get better. Can't always be bad, can it? Maybe it can.
Has Mike Sullivan ever had a good power play? I don't think so. Honestly, I'm not trying to be
no. Well, I mean, like a few years ago, they were like borderline top 10. Like they don't have to be great. They just can't be like 28. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They just get so much ice time that even just like a mid power play would be good enough.
Yeah.
I see Morgan Riley is starting to go earlier and earlier.
Morgan Riley. I have the same problem with Morgan Riley that I do with Mitch Marner, is that like they need to shoot the puck more. And then they'd be fine for fantasy purposes.
I mean, he had 310 shots plus blocks last year, and he missed 10 games.
I mean, man, that's one thing we didn't talk about. Man, Craig Berube behind the bench. At least he's not bringing. Well, I wish he would. Actually, it would have been hilarious if he brought Steve Ott to run the power play.
Still can't believe that was the thing. Well, there are a couple wingers that I still want to grab here. See if they fall. Toronto was one of them. Thanks, Tyler.
I mean, I will say this about Tyler. He at least pays attention to our shows because, like, he's taking all the guys that we are high on.
Yeah.
What does that get you? Brownie points that you can't cash in. So
I'm just wondering about Anaheim. Like, I really don't know what their lineup's going to look like. Like, Leo Carlson's probably going to be the number one center. Troy Terry probably going to be the number one winger. Other than that, I honestly don't know how the ice time is going to shake itself out. Because you have Gauthier, you have a healthy Zegras, but Adam Henrique's gone. But Toronto and Strome are still there. Alex Killorn signed last year. Like, there's a lot of guys starting to fill out that top nine now.
You got Olin Zellweger on the blue line here. Got a couple options for myself here, but I need to take another winger. Can't believe I'm stacking the Sens and the Penguins, but here we are.
I was hoping for Batherson. You and Frostback are conspiring against me, I see.
No, people have accused me of colluding, but not this time. You go on YouTube and tell thousand people your picks, but I talk to my mom, and you say it's collusion. That was the all-time rant.
I'm taking Quentin Byfield again.
He's a monster, man. Half the time we wake up in the morning during the season, and it's just like, did you see what Quentin Byfield did last night? Because we're old and we can't make it to the third period of these games anymore.
The worst for me is because the LA games start at 7:35 local. So puck drop for me is literally 11:40 p.m.
Yeah, that's so late.
When the first period is still going on and it's technically the next day, pushing it. I do stay up for the late games quite a bit, but usually it's just laying in bed at 1 or 1:30 in the morning. I won't be on my computer sitting on Twitter or something. I just
if I have a shot for a really large cash, I'll stay up. Otherwise, I'll usually just be I used to stay up every time, but then it's I had a newborn last season and I just got wrecked. So I was just
yeah. Oh, Kadri went. That was the guy I was holding off to take. That sucks. No, that certainly throws a wrench into things. Well, let's see. Johnny T can find a little bit of magic. At least I get to pair him with Nylander. We'll see what happens.
Oh, who just sniped my Carlson to go for my 3-3 stacks? It's okay. It's okay. I'll get another share of the hype train.
I wonder if he's going to be good enough to kind of single-handedly turn around their power play.
We've seen it before. I don't have any examples off the top of my head, but I've never seen it before.
I mean, to an extent, you could say that Bedard did that, right? With Chicago.
They were actually pretty decent, their power play. Like, it wasn't great.
His specific power play unit wasn't bad, right? Last year or 2 years ago, they're at 5.7 goals per 60.
I guess you could say Jake Neighbors.
This year, they're at 6.0. Obviously, it was a lot higher with Bedard on the ice. I think it was north of 8. So I don't know. I guess if Mishkov can be at Bedard's level, maybe.
One of these drafts, I'm just gonna full on stack the Utah Soakers.
I mean, there's just not enough ton of guys to take. You know what I mean? Who's going to be their number one center? Is it going to be Schmaltz, or is it going to be Hayden, or is it going to be Cooley? You know what I mean? Like, I honestly don't have an answer to that question.
Yeah, it's true. I just go like Keller. Maybe I just want Keller.
One man stack. I mean, I think we said it last week, but like if this was like a 25 round draft or a 30 round draft, like I would definitely be having some Utah stacks. It's just like after Keller and Sergachev, maybe you can take Genther, Connor Ingram and net or whatever, but like there's just not a ton of guys you can draft.
A little Sergachev.
Frostback's been paying attention to my articles, apparently, taking Sergachev. 119th overall. Ehlers, 118th overall. That's one of those picks, like, I wouldn't, we do say this every year, but he could be like a top 30 fantasy player and just be one of the best values on the draft board.
If he wasn't in Winnipeg.
And it's like, there's a new coach. They got Scott Arniel there. And it's like, yeah, well,
Scott Arniel.
He was the assistant to Bonus. Like
he was literally Bonus is right nutsack. Just go outside the organization for the love of God. Arniel, at least, like, didn't he run the power play?
Yeah, the power play wasn't very good last year.
Penalty kill they ran. Not as good either. Don't do it, DJ. Take Bo Horvat. No,
he takes Genther. I do like Dylan Genther a lot. I'm just wondering how much ice time he actually gets. You know what I mean? He's at 16 minutes a game last year. Like, you get more than 17 minutes. I mean, if you're taking someone in the 11th round, I guess you can't expect a 20-minute player. But anyway,
I'll take a little Montour there. Bobby Knuckles.
Mr. Jones and me tell each other fairy tales.
He plays like 29 minutes a night on the top power play. So.
Like, as long as Korchinski doesn't take over the power play, like, Jones is at worst, a top 20 defenseman.
Yeah.
That's the only concern, is if Korchinski eventually takes over the top power play unit, but I don't think he does. Oh, Titans back-to-back Ducks. Pulling a Frostback.
Man, if I was Frostback, I'd take that personally.
Well, sir. I'm really not sold on who to go with here. So we'll just go with the guy that's getting power play time. Hopefully he can stay healthy.
That's the guy's going to take. His projection on Underdog doesn't make any sense to me.
I mean, he just doesn't bring a lot of peripherals, right? Like 2 shots per game doesn't hit, but he can be a 70-point guy if he plays a full season. Like over the last 2 years, per 82 games, Velarde's averaging 34 goals. It's like 34 goals, 30 assists or something like that. So
I guess I'm going to go Tyler Toffoli.
yes, sir. Oh, someone took Wolf. How pissed are you?
I already have Igor and Ilya, so like, do I even need to draft a third goalie? Because if one of them gets hurt, I'm fucked anyway. So I'm just gonna. No, you know what? In the last round, I'm gonna take Dan Vladar now, just for shits and giggles.
Yeah, I suppose you don't really need. I suppose you don't really need another goalie. Like if it really comes down to it, and you're like, oh man, my season's running on Peter Mrazek.
Yeah,
something's gone horribly wrong.
I'll probably end up taking a third goalie. It won't be Dan Vladar. If it's Dan Vladar, like I'm gonna check myself into a psychiatric hospital. But like, I'll take a third goalie. Elias Lindholm, that contract was the worst of the day until Seattle signed Chandler Stevenson.
I was gonna say Boston signing Lindholm was the worst contract of free agency until Boston signs the door off. Yeah, I don't see it with Lindholm. I guess like with the cap going up, like in a couple of years, it's like he's a $5 million center, so it's not a huge deal. But like, yeah, I've never been a Lindholm guy. I remember getting into an argument with a Flames fan like 2 or 3 years ago. Like they're like he's a top 5 center in the NHL because he's so good defensively. It might have been that season, like 2 years ago, when that entire top line had a huge year. Would he have? 42 goals, 46.
Yeah, with Mac Chuck and Johnny Gaudreau, right?
Yeah, point per game player with elite defense. I was like, he's point per game player this year. But
Vancouver traded for him last year and then tried to trade him at the deadline.
Things went so bad so fast. They tried to trade him 6 weeks after they got him.
Frostback taking Celebrini at 146. That's a good gamble, I think.
Yeah, I'm really pretty high on Celebrini, even if he only plays 17, 18 minutes. Like I think he's going to be. I don't know if he's going to be like a massive year, but certainly like a 25 goal, 55, 60 point season with over 200 shots. Like I think there's a lot of upside, but I'm worried they're going to do the whole insulate him thing, and Gramlin's going to play like 21 minutes on the top line while Celebrini plays like 17 on the second. And then if Logan Couture comes back, it could make things even worse. Because, we'll see what happens with Couture.
Oh, Couture. Man. I don't know about. He's a tad dusty, but who knows? What do I do here? I know what I'm going to do here. I need my third defenseman. I think he's going to be power play 1 here. The Noah Hannafin people are going to be disappointed, but Seamus.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a Theodore guy too this year. The thing is like Hannafin's usually gone a lot earlier than because he went a few picks before Theodore. Usually Hannafin goes like 2 or 3 rounds earlier. I think this is my first Marchenko of the season, but
I have a fair bit of the Marchenko.
No, Landeskog. I was looking at earlier drafts that I've done. The first 2 drafts I did, Landeskog was in the last round, and it seems like he's moving up basically around a week since then.
Yeah, we were talking with Moods about it, right? On Twitter or X or whatever the hell it's called now.
It's Twitter.
Yeah, it's Twitter. It's a good gamble. You just don't know, right? You can make the pick and like it could be a lost season for him again.
I mean that's a pick you're not really expecting anything from him before. Like I don't think you take that pick expecting anything from him before Christmas, right?
Yeah.
All right, let's round out the old Columbus stack here.
Fantilli. Yep.
Like I hate to say it, I know, but we do kind of have to talk about it. Just from an on ice role perspective, like I think Fantilli could be one of the beneficiaries to Gaudreau not being there.
Yeah.
Just like I think it helps him for sure. Like he might be on the top line now, and I think for sure is on the top power play. So
I don't even know if he's going to be playing with Bedard, but
I mean, it makes sense to me, but maybe they use Hall instead. But I think at the very least, Bertuzzi's going to be on the top power play unit. Like I think he's going to be that net front guy. He's going to take the spot that Foligno had last year.
I can't believe Nick Woosah captain. Darnell Nurse off the board. Frostback, take Turbo. He's not. I mean, don't listen to me, please. For the love of God. I know I'm a role model in the community, but the stank oven.
I'm wondering how much ice time Stankoven's going to get. Like, is he going to get a lot more? He must be getting a lot more.
It depends where Wyatt Johnston plays, right? I'm pretty sure they're pretty set on him being a center, but like there is a non-zero chance that he's up with Robertson and Hintz, and that would affect Stankoven's playing time because he wouldn't have Wyatt as his center.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I think they want to use Johnston on the second line and have him play behind Robertson and Hintz. But then I guess it's a question is like, who would take the spot on the top line then? You know what I mean? Like, there's no, could it be Stankoven?
Could be.
Right? Like Johnston plays with like Bork and Ben, and you leave the Duchesne line together and just move Stankoven to the top.
It would
line.
make sense because he's a very good passer. So Hintz is kind of like that playmaker. Robertson's the shooter. So it does make sense.
Michael Bunting is interesting.
I took him in the last draft in the last round.
Yeah, it's just like Rust, Malkin, Crosby, top power play. McGroarty's there. Kel's still there.
Huberdeau. We have a Huberdeau sighting.
I mean, things can't get worse. Can they?
Yeah, I don't know. It's like a little Askarov. It's my third goalie. Good high upside gamble. It is the Sharks, though, so I don't know how much upside's there.
Yeah, and they, like a good neighbor. I'll go Samsonov here. Hill sometimes has a little trouble staying healthy. We'll see what happens.
Is Robert Leonard ever coming back, or is he just...
I think his career's done.
Yeah.
It's weird seeing Blake Coleman still on the board. Like, I know we got lucky last year, but 30 goals, like 1.5 hits, 2.5 shots per game. I'm not saying I'm taking him. It's just seems like people are definitely aware that he's a 10% shooter who shot like 16% last year. Oh, I did see an update on Josh Norris. He said his shoulder surgery is ahead of where he was last year, and he should be fine for training camp, but saw that went last year. Thomas Chabot, 178th overall. Like, that guy might be power play 1 for Ottawa. Like, I still think he has 60-point upside. Oh. I mean, got to get some Troy Terry in my life.
I couldn't think of the name of the guy I wanted to draft, and I drafted Bertuzzi instead, but I'm going to go get him this pick.
Claude Giroux going this late is also kind of interesting. Like, this is a... Like, I said, you know, you typically can't get guys playing 19, 20 minutes this late, but Claude Giroux played a lot of minutes last season.
There's a guy who gets a good amount of minutes. Take a little Philip Kurashev.
I mean, he's going to play on the top line, top power play. I'm pretty sure of that.
He had 20 power play points last season, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, that makes sense. So last season, yeah, Claude Giroux played, hold on, yeah, over 20 minutes a night, 20.08 minutes a game. Like, getting him this late. Oh, she lobs, 187th. Taking that gamble on Demko. It'd be interesting. I mean, it was just a couple years ago. Demko missed a ton of time. He came back in what, like January? Like, he missed like... He started the season, played for like a month, got hurt. Was it?
Yeah. And then he came back for the playoffs and got hurt again.
No. Well, yeah, it was last season, but it was the year before that too. Or the year before that. Like, he played a month of the season and then got hurt for like 2 months, came back in January.
Mark Stone,
he was lights out.
Last pick.
What's that?
Mark Stone off the board at 190. What's Frostback going to do? Jacob Trouba.
It's interesting seeing Hurdle go this late. Like, he's probably going to be an 18-minute guy, top power play for Vegas. Like, Ely Tolvanen too. Man.
Jacob Trouba. Oh, my man. You know, he's good for a couple games. He'll get like 8 block shots, a goal, 18 penalty minutes, and be -4. So he'll be good.
Dylan Strome, last pick of the draft. All right. Well,
highest projected team, JRH002. Not that the projections mean anything, but
all right. Well, let's see what we got here. So I started Hughes, Nylander, Meyer, Bratt. So 3 out of my first 4 were from New Jersey. Ended up with that triple New Jersey stack. Had Nylander, Tavares, Joseph Woll from Toronto, Fantilli, Marchenko, and Werenski from Columbus. So I have three 3-man stacks from the Eastern Conference. I'm actually not mad about it. I actually don't mind my draft. I think that Bratt Weegar, I might do something different there in a different draft. I was thinking about going Svechnikov instead of Bratt. Maybe I wait on my defenseman and then just go get like a Fox or a Cedar or something a couple rounds later. But honestly, I like this draft. I did a lot more than my last one. You went Kachuk, Shesterkin, Bedard, Sorokin. So out of your first 6 picks, he took 3 centers and 2 goalies.
I drummed my own beat.
That is true. But, I mean, you did end up with Kershaw, Bertuzzi, Bedard. So, like, that's a pretty good stack to have. And then you did end up with Crosby and Rust. You did end up with Stützle and Kachuk. Like, those are all pretty nice stacks. Yeah, and Batherson.
It's like I didn't want to take it Crosby at 55, but like at 55, I was kind of obligated to take Crosby there. Like I obviously didn't have to, but like I know he's 38, but it's still Sidney Crosby. I give him a lot of shit for being a bitch, and that it's just because he's a Penguin, but like he is still ridiculously good.
Yeah, he is, and he's still going to play a lot of minutes. So I did notice a lot of goalies going early. Like we had 3 goalies in the second round, 2 in the third round, and 5 in the fourth. So 10 goalies out of the first 47 picks, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14 goalies out of the first 53. So 14 goalies in 40 picks, something like that, once you get out of the first round. It felt like goalies went really early because I was stuck taking UPL 64th overall, and he was, like the 18th or 19th goalie off the board. It felt like people this was a big rush on goalies in this draft more than what we used to.
So you know how before we went live, we joined the draft, and I ended up joining one as the last pick. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to auto draft it. I got the second pick, right? I went McKinnon, Marner, Point, Barzal, Fox, Horvat. Like this would be like me drafting
McKinnon, Barzal, Horvat, Point,
and then
the first 7 picks.
Yeah, I got Fox and Horvat, and then I got Trocheck. I also got UC. My goalies are UC Saros, Montembeau, Logan Thompson. Then I have Adam Fox, Eric Carlson, Justin Falk. Wingers are Marner, Barzal, Genther, Nishushkin, Neighbors, and Drew N. And my centers are McKinnon, Point, Horvat, and Trocheck. That's like something I would draft. And
it's not great, but it's not that bad. Like for an auto draft.
That's auto draft out of the second spot.
Yeah, that's not that bad.
How old was Yager when he retired? He's still playing, my man. He's playing in Czechoslovakia or something like that. He owns the team, and sometimes he plays.
I do like the start. Dirty Dan taking first overall gets McDavid, and then gets Bouchard, Caulfield on the turn, and then Svechnikov, Skinner on the next turn. So he goes McDavid, Bouchard, Caulfield, Svechnikov, Skinner. I think that's a pretty good start. even if you're not a fan of taking first overall. All right, well, another draft in the books.
Another draft in the books.
We'll be back here next Wednesday.
Remember, NFL starts tomorrow. You want that weekly or monthly light or core for $1. Promo code kickoff. You just got to go through the link in the chat. Then you get charged full price on the 10th, but you get the first week for $1. It supports us directly. Watch some football. We'll be back next week for some hockey. I'm pretty sure it's going to be around the time when teams start reporting. So we'll actually have something to talk about instead of like if mermaids or birds are more real.
Yeah, I think it's rookies report next week, and then the week after is when formal training camp starts.
Yeah. DJ going live. Yeah. If you're interested in more best ball content, Moods and DJ are going live in a couple minutes on the Morning Skate Pod channel. So you want to do another draft? They still have 6 spots left in their lobby, so go join them. I'm a boomer and I need to go to sleep, but
yeah, I need to go watch my wrestling programs.
Yeah, I'm going to go watch another episode of Sons of Anarchy because that's the show my wife settled on because she hasn't seen it yet.
It's not a bad one.
Yeah.
I liked it. Yeah, until next week.
Yeah. Let's do that hockey. And, yeah, NFL starts tomorrow again. If you didn't know, link in the description. We'll see you on Wednesday.
See you next week, everyone.